Hello, everyone. The date is February 1st, 2020.
Wow.
We're here at a dreary day in Bellingham,
Yeah,
Washington.
yeah.
My name is Alex Eves. I'll be your host today, and I'm here with Jake Barrow of Vervex.
Hey guys.
How's it going today, man?
Oh, it's going good. It's a good morning. Been recovering from some sickness, which I saw Fields End was in a similar situation. Maybe this is cursed.
Yeah, I don't know. Every single artist is gonna be sick. That's how it's gonna be. Yeah,
It's ideal.
yeah. Maybe make it the quiet ER sessions. Maybe.
Maybe,
Yeah.
yeah. But I'm doing good. It's hard to believe that 1 month has already gone by in the year, and it's February now.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
busy.
I know it's just gonna fly by. Honestly,
Yeah.
I feel like as I get older, the time moves faster too. You know.
Yep. Yeah. That's math. Yeah.
Exactly. So I guess I just want to start, just get to know a little more about you. Where are you from?
I'm from Woodinville, Washington, which is about an hour and a half south of here, and is full of wineries now. I came up to go to Western in 2009, and Woodinville went through a big phase, a facelift there, and then I went back, and it's like just a lot of wineries and tasting rooms now.
Is it a little more like posh, like upscale now than when you were growing up?
It's trying to, I think, do a little bit of a Kirkland thing. If you're familiar with Kirkland, it's kind of a posh zone. Woodinville's a bit posh now. Yeah, yeah.
Do you like to go home still?
Yeah, it's nice being close to home and being able to like just have a nice drive in between. I definitely think of Bellingham as home at this point, having been here for the better part of 10 years. Like I moved away and moved home for a little bit for an internship at a recording studio, and I've like toured a fair amount, but for the most part, I've been in Bellingham for the past 10 years, and so I'd consider it home here. I love Bellingham. The longer I live here, the more I love it. So but it's like also being on tour and people not knowing where Bellingham is. I often say that I'm just from Seattle because they also don't know where Woodinville is. So even though I've never lived in Seattle.
Yeah, I think that's it's interesting. Even your Bandcamp says Seattle too.
Does it still say that?
It does,
Yeah.
yeah. But so that's interesting. Yeah, people don't really know much about Bellingham. I feel like I never really even meet people who are like from here. You know what I mean?
You know what's crazy is when we were on tour in 2019 last year, we were all the way in Florida, and I mentioned that I was from Bellingham, and I was playing in a cafe, and somebody like their head totally perked up, and they're like, "What? Like I'm from Bellingham." Yeah, so like we would run into people kind of frequently who would either know Bellingham or be from close by or from Bellingham itself.
That's so interesting.
It-
That's like literally about as far away in the country as you could
Pretty
get.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang. So what's the music scene like in Woodinville? Because that's like a kind of a suburb of Seattle, right?
It is, yeah. I would say that there's not much of one. There's no, alternative library or makeshift, no all ages art space that I know of. Like maybe one has popped up, but there's not much of a scene there or like a place for kids to hang out and experience art and music. Like in Redmond, which is close by, there's the Redmond Firehouse and K-Tub and other places in cities close by, but in Woodinville, not much of that going on. Yeah.
Interesting. So is that what drew you to Bellingham? Was the music scene?
I mean, knowing that Death Cab was from here, I was majorly inspired, and I mean, I remember telling people like, Death Cab is from here, and I'm gonna be next, and and that was like me as a freshman. So that was a definite inspiration. I guess I didn't realize moving up here just how much more there was than Death Cab, and it's been awesome discovering that. And since I moved up, Bellingham has like gone through these phases, and it's in a really exciting place right now. I think there's a lot of creative energy going on with the people who are here right now. And it's really cool to be able to have so many venues, so many bands playing. I love Bellingham. I'm a Bellingham freak, y'all. Yeah. It's
It's a
gonna be
very unique city.
yeah,
With the college being here, there's like a youthful sort of energy all the time.
right.
It's interesting that you mentioned the city going through some phases because I've been here, I think probably 4 years now, and I felt like the past couple years, and I think it's on an upswing right now, but the past couple years, especially like the house show scene, seems to
hmm
have really dwindled here, and I was wondering if you had like felt that as well.
Did feel that. I mean, I haven't been to many house shows as of late, but I feel like even now it's on the upswing from where it was. It did feel like it, like when I was in college, I was also at that age a lot more than now, where it was like going out to a show at a house, just like your friends in class are playing sort of thing. Like, and now if I went to some shows, I would be like almost a decade older than some people, which uh, I haven't been to many shows lately, but I remember in college there being just like a lot, and that being so much fun. And like I love house shows, both like going to them and performing at them because of just the intimate energy, and it's like contained in a tight space, and so it feels like you feel it more. Um, and then it felt like a lot of people graduated, people that I knew, and moved away. I moved away for a tiny bit, and it felt like that dwindled a lot. But I mean, since going on tour and being out of Bellingham for like 5 months last year, and being here now, I'm like, wow, like things are picking up again. And so I guess maybe we just have different perspectives in that.
Right. Yeah, I definitely haven't been here as long. I think the alternative library has always been a space that's like cultivated that scene. So it's always here. It's always in Bellingham. There's always stuff happening, but yeah.
Yeah, city of subdued excitement. Like
Right.
there might not be a whole lot going on the surface, but I think underneath it all, there's a lot of creative energy
Yeah.
in this city.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned going on tour.
Yeah.
You said you're on tour for 5 months.
Not all at once.
Oh, okay.
Cumulatively.
Wow,
That
that's
was a
still
hard word to say.
Yeah, that's still a lot of time though.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. It was a New Year's resolution for me last year to really like pedal to the metal and push myself and see just like how much touring I could get away with and not die. And it's a lot. I went on tour with 2 different bands, and let's see, it was like 1, 2, 3, 4. It was like 5 different tours. Yeah.
Is that 2 bands that you were a part of? Is that what you mean? Or 2 different acts that you were along with?
2 different bands that I was playing.
Oh, okay.
In. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And it's nice to be in one place again right now.
Yeah, I'm sure it gets so hectic. I couldn't imagine being, I don't know, in like some huge band like the National or something like that, where you tour like the entire year and then
I
you
know.
do a record and then you tour the whole rest of the year and stuff
Right.
like that. Yeah, that sounds pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think there are ways to make it more sustainable, and like having resources like a band like the National would definitely make it easier. But I mean, what the resources that helped us so much were like the DIY community and family, and literal family and friends that are scattered across the country, who we've either played with bands before and they let us crash on their couch and then we like stay with them again, or staying with aunts and uncles and all that, and friends of friends of friends who are like, I don't know you, but you're welcome to stay here. Like the generosity of people was huge, and without that, it's not possible. Our country is huge. It's so big, and then you can feel really far away and be like, man, wow, we're far out. We're very far out, but it still feels like home in a certain way. Not to get too corny.
I think that you're right. I mean, there's a lot of people who just want to host shows and want to help artists, kind of make a name for themselves out there. What was it like scheduling dates like and finding places to stay? Was that a pretty like easy experience, or?
It varies. Sometimes you have to follow up a million times, and it's like pulling teeth. And I super prefer the creative side of things over that the booking side, but it's really rewarding. It's like hard work goes into it, and then when it goes well and you pull it off, it feels really, really good, and you feel really alive. And then there was a show in Vermont where I played to like one person, and it was just like afterwards I was like, nobody talk to me. I just need to retreat within myself. I'm feeling not good right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see how that could be kind of discouraging.
Yeah.
I mean, you go into some place where no one really knows you. That's always a possibility.
Totally. Yeah. It comes with what a tour is on the other coast.
Yeah.
In a big country.
Vermont, it's a long way away also.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that's really changed in the music industry probably in the last 5 to 10 years is that artists like really are expected to like be their own publicist, be their own marketer, be their own manager. And like you said, like it sounds like you really care more about just like the creative, artistic side of music. And I think it's kind of, I think in a way it's kind of cool because artists have a lot more control, like over every aspect, of their image and where they want to play and stuff. But it can be a lot to put on an artist's plate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's pros and cons for sure, because I would rather have that sort of control than someone be like, all right, here's what you're doing, and like dance, monkey dance. And at the same time, like I get lost, in the creative side of things, not the sending email side of things. That's not where time just, flies by, and I'm like, wow. 4 hours later, here we are.
Nah, you don't really get in the flow state just like sending emails to venues. And
Not yet. Working on it. Yeah, maybe I just need to get more caffeinated.
Right. Yeah, take a little Adderall or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
there are things we can do.
Yeah. Hopefully, you don't have to rely on illicit substances for booking purposes. But
no, it's just focus and teeth gritting.
Right.
Yeah.
So you talk about you really get lost in creative things. Are there other things that you do besides music?
Yeah. I do love to do music, but I do improv over at the Upfront Theater, and that's something I've done, like I did on Western's campus, and that's lots of fun. I'd say those are my two biggest like creative passions, and for a long time, I was like, music is my preference, is my favorite. It's like something that's more personal to me, and I still feel like that's pretty much true, but I remember going to a improv festival in New York City in college, the Del Close Marathon, and seeing some like wickedly good improvisers do amazing sets, and it hitting me being like, wow, improv is like the art of like pure creation. I mean, it's like imagination. It's pretty weird. Sometimes it hits me. I'm like, I'm just like doing make-believe, and there are people who have decided to like sit politely and watch us and not interrupt. But I feel like performing on stage in that way kind of informs playing music, and like sometimes when I play Vervex shows, I have like kind of a personality. I'll like put on an accent even, and it's like it becomes like this whole personality, this whole show. And so it's just like different parts of the same muscle, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense, like performing on stage, but with different goals, different scenarios, like either solo or with that scene partner or whatever. Like that's something else that is very fun for me. And to get into the zone in that way is very fun.
You've been doing some more improvised music lately.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've been delving into that.
That's awesome. What kind of preparation goes into doing a set like that?
So on the improvised sets that I've done lately, I'll prepare like instruments in Ableton. I'll have like drum racks with parts with like drum sounds that I've picked ahead of time, and I'll like kind of mess around and find some synth sounds and other type melodic sounds that I like, and I'll maybe add a little reverb because I love my reverb. Gotta have my reverb. And so I'll kind of get the sounds ready, and then it's like I guess the palette that I'm working with, and then in the moment it's like, all right, let's see what happens, and that's the improvised part. Yeah.
I like that the analogy to like a palette of colors that you can kind of choose from. That's pretty cool. Does your experience in improvised theater like you said, like it sort of informs your music generally, but does it inform that more specifically? Like,
I suppose I've done a couple improvised musicals like at the upfront where I'm on the singing side of things and like making up lyrics on the spot. Not so much the like playing and improvising, and I feel like I'm not quite good enough to improvise. I'm getting there with guitar, but like drums was my first instrument, and I feel like that's an instrument that I can really jam on. It's totally different with a beat pad and like on the laptop. But if there's anything that I take away from performing improv theater, it's just like having fun and obviously there's an audience, but and you want to take care of them, but they can tell if you're like nervous or feeling uptight, and they can tell when you're having fun and like doing it for yourself, sort of thing. Yeah. It's reverse like psychology, like have fun, forget about the audience, but then they'll come along with you, sort of thing. Yeah.
I think that I don't know what to call it. That idea is like really important, and like a lot of creative pursuits, like especially in like songwriting, there has to be this feeling of really a personal aspect to the lyrics. It has to be you kind of have to like speak your truth, so to speak.
Yeah,
and you
has
can't
to be genuine in some way.
Exactly, and you can't be afraid to say things.
Yes.
I always like. I also write songs, and like I find that like I'll write a line, I'm like, oh, I can't say that. Like no one wants to hear me say that, but then like that turns out to be like the best line in the song.
Cool.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, that's huge. Because especially in the Pacific Northwest, I feel like we can be passive aggressive and like overly polite, sort of thing. Where we don't speak our truths maybe as often as we should. As opposed to a place like New York City where they're like, giving each other the finger, and then they get along with their days and they're fine. I think it's important to have that element of truth in songs as well, and art in general.
Totally. Yeah, you kind of just don't worry about what people are gonna think about it.
Yeah,
and if they like it, they like it.
Mm-hmm.
And what is your songwriting process like?
I am a very scatterbrained songwriter, I would say. I have lots of sections of songs, lyrics written across like multiple notebooks and notes in my phone. I have like
the phone.
A bunch of ideas recorded. And I've talked with some people who do the same thing where it's like I'll be super excited on a song that's coming through in the moment, and it's like getting on its feet, and then I'll get it like 2/3 of the way there, 3/4 of the way there, and then stop for whatever reason, and then it kind of just stays there for a long time, and I just like repeat that process. Okay. So it can take and I'm trying to be less perfectionistic about my recordings, because in the past I've tweaked things endlessly, and I want to just share music with the world, and that takes a little bit of like, all right, this is as close as it needs to be, like it's good enough, and learned what I needed to learn from this process, and like the next go around will be another opportunity to keep improving and get closer. That's been big for me, like the progress and not perfection thing. Right.
Just making something, putting it out there, kind of thing.
Yeah, still having standards, and I mean, I'm still leaning, I think, towards the perfection side of things. That's hard to let go of. But I've got a lot of songs basically that I'm sitting on right now that I'm excited to finish, and will be coming out this year. I'm putting out some singles. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, are you planning on doing an album, or are you gonna do just kind
I'm
of singles from here
doing
on?
the singles thing right now. Just I guess to avoid the ADD, like work on this for a bit, work on this for a bit, work on this for a bit, and then don't release it. Just like trying to hone in on one thing, finish it, release it, and repeat that process. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Kind of getting into more of like a routine and your
Yeah.
creative, yeah, self sort of thing.
Yeah. Structure's good. Structure's good for me
Yeah,
in that way. Yeah.
that's good. Yeah, I think creative types, there's this idea that like inspiration has to kind of hit you, and that's when you should work. But I do think that there is a lot of value in like setting aside time
Hmm.
or having like a repeatable process, like you were saying.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I've been um, picking up the guitar. Like, I mean, the past week has been a bit of a fluke, but like picking up the guitar and practicing my scales and stuff, and working on that sort of thing. And that's exciting too, because I can see improvements. It's not,
Oh,
yeah. Um, Nighttime is a good time for me though, when like creative juices really flow.
Right.
Yeah, end up staying up till like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
or emailing. It's like woo.
Oh man, that's when you really get going. Yeah, yeah. No, I think everyone who does art, I think, has that same experience. Where sometimes it just happens, and you just go for hours and hours and
Totally.
hours.
Yeah. Forget to eat anything.
Oh yeah, yeah. But you mentioned that you had done some work in a recording studio, and I think that audio can be the same way, where you just hone in on something, and like 8 hours go by, and you can't even hear the song correctly anymore, kind
Right.
of thing. Because your ears are so tired, and yeah, it's kind of a blessing to have that ability to be able to spend that much time on something, but it can also be a curse in a way.
Yes.
You know?
C'est la vie.
Yeah. So, do you do all the audio production for your music?
Yes. I perform most of it. I've collaborated with some musicians on some Vervex recordings, but yeah, I've pretty much recorded all of it and performed most of it and mixed it. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot of hats.
Hands on. Yeah. Yeah. You think this is the only hat I'm wearing right now? No.
I have no idea.
There's a lot of hats underneath it.
Yeah, that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where artists are, I think, expected to sort of just perform all those roles for themselves nowadays. Do you enjoy the mixing process as much as the songwriting creative process?
I'd say more than
Okay.
that. Yeah, I love mixing. Like that's really my happy place, and that's where I can, just like dive deep, and it's like, what sort of spring reverb will I use on this? Like, yeah, I just chasing after something that like makes me feel good, feel happy, like makes me excited when I hear it. I'm like, oh yeah. Just chasing that feeling when I'm mixing, and yeah.
That's awesome. It's really amazing how much of a difference that process can make. Obviously, the closer you get to the finished product and the recording process is really important, but something about a killer mix, when you get everything balanced just right and you're got all the automation going and stuff, it's just like, whoa.
Yeah. And when you've taken like a break from listening to it for 8 hours and you come back to it with fresh ears, it can be a very rewarding feeling of like, wow, my hard work it sounds good to me. I hope
Totally.
other people like it. Sounds good to me, and so I'm excited about it. Feeling.
Yeah, and that can either be like, I feel like a couple of things can happen. You've been working for 8 hours and you like think that it sounds terrible, and then you go to bed and come back, you're like, oh, like this is fine.
Yeah.
Or the opposite, where you finish and you think it sounds great, and you come back and you're like,
like I wasted so much time. Yeah, it's a gamble sometimes.
do you have like a specific approach to mixing?
Lately I've been trying to have more of an approach, and like I was saying, I think I've been thinking about it more, more in a more structured way, and like teaching myself new techniques, like going on YouTube and seeing what techniques people have to teach, and taking some lessons from that and applying it to what I do. And I mean, there's still so much to learn. I feel like, even though I feel like I can get a sound that I like. Yeah, there's still so much to learn. So like lately I've been working on like having a pre-mix and then doing the whole mix down process, which is something I didn't always do, but I've like seen the benefit in, even though it can take a lot longer, I can hear the results sounding cleaner and sounding more balanced, sounding better. And I mean, that's what a lot of the pros do too. And I'm trying to be a pro. So
Yeah, learn from the best.
yeah.
You know, it's honestly pretty amazing the wealth of knowledge, and I think in audio in particular, that there is on like things like YouTube. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, you search some topic and there's thousands and thousands of videos of people talking about it and
Right.
showing you how to mic things up and use EQ and compression. And it's
Yeah.
honestly, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Are you using compression on these microphones right now?
Not right now, but maybe in post.
In post.
It'll be a little bit.
In post.
Yeah.
Nice. In post.
Yeah. You know, this is probably the easiest audio work that I do. This part. Yeah.
But there's probably so many how-to videos on YouTube on how to do an interview like this. It's endless. There's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you know, podcasting is another medium that's really just like exploding right now.
Yeah.
I mean, so many people have things to say, things to talk about, and it's great that there's like such a readily available platform to not only to learn about it, but to share your work. You know, we really live in a time of like artistic plenty. You know?
Yeah, and you just said sharing. Like, I think people are sharing a lot, like sharing knowledge and
For free.
For free. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. And it's inspiring, and it makes me want to be like, what can I share with the world to make it a cooler, better place or improve people's lives? Yeah.
You're going to grad school soon, right?
Going to grad school.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are you studying? What is the impetus for that?
Studying music production, which, yeah, I mean, is something that I would be teaching myself off of YouTube either way. But I am really excited about the opportunity and the idea of studying alongside other students and having them to like bounce our ideas off of each other and collaborate with, and also to like seek mentorship in the professors, you know, ask their experiences about their work, and you know, try to steer through this crazy little life with their feedback. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like having someone who really knows what they're talking about, really has that experience, sort of guide you, answer, you know, this really specific questions that you have. Is that something that you would ever envision yourself teaching, like audio work?
I could envision that. It's not out of the realm of possibility in my mind. And I think like teaching is a great way to also learn and like hammer in what knowledge you know. Yeah. And I feel like, you know, like 10 years after using Ableton, I'm finally in a place where I'm like, okay, now I feel like I could, because I've had people in the past be like, cool, and then maybe you could show me some stuff in Ableton. And I'm like, yeah, all right. And then it just ends up me like not talking about what I'm doing and just like going in the zone. And I think I've developed more past that point where I could like talk about what I'm doing more and why. So yeah, maybe someday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll start up a YouTube channel.
Right. Well, yeah. You were saying like, you know, you want to share those your knowledge and like with the world.
Yeah.
You know, just wanted to see if that was something you'd be interested in
Yeah.
in the future. That's really cool. So you're going to Spain for grad school, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's where the school is.
How did you get linked up with that institution, and what interests you to go there?
Well, I saw something about the program before I applied, and it was at Berklee College of Music, which before I went to Western, I was applying to Berklee College of Music in Boston and was super interested in it. Like, I knew that I wanted to study music, and it's a really great school for that, and chose to go to Western. And honestly, when I graduated from Western, I was like, 4 years, I want to be done after that. And I didn't really imagine that I would go back to school. But it's also a life goal of mine to live in another country for a year. And so I just remember seeing this program for music production at Berklee College of Music in Spain. And I was like, wow, how many check boxes does that fill? And it just was something that felt simultaneously exciting, but also scary, but the like good kind of scary. And so I was like, what the heck? Why not go for it? And I got accepted, and which was like a really exciting feeling. Yeah.
That's so awesome. Like, congrats on that. That's
Thank you
super
so
cool.
much.
It sounds like you're really like chasing your dream. Really going for it.
I'm going for it. And it's like I said, it's scary and feels really big. And it's taking a lot of intention to like stay in a good mindset, reach out to people if I need help, and like share when I'm feeling anxious, so I'm not keeping it all to myself and letting it fester, sort of thing. But I do feel like it's like I'm a good fit for the program, and so I'm excited in that way and excited for what I'll learn.
Yeah. So, speaking about like mental health, anxiety, is the anxiety mostly just from having to make that big of a change, kind of thing? Just having to, pick up and really.
Yeah, huge change. Like moving to another country and like getting married to my partner and us going together, like huge changes this year. But also just kind of the pressure of like, now it's going to be graded and and you have to do well enough. And it's that voice of like, what if, and negative, fill in the blank, like what if the other students are like better or like more skilled or whatever, that is not a helpful, empowering thought. And something that's helped me with that is to ask myself, like, what if this anxious feeling and even like this tenseness that I can feel in my body is actually excitement that is like disguised, or that I'm misinterpreting in my head, and that can help me shift it back towards excitement.
That's cool. Like trying to sort of, I guess, like just change that inner dialogue and like try to reflect it somewhere a little more positive, sort of thing.
Yeah, because it can be like a really paralyzing thing.
Oh yeah. I think Charlie Day has this quote. He's one of the guys on It's Always Sunny, but he says like, it's okay to be afraid. I think he was specifically talking about pursuing the goals of acting and comedy. It's okay to be scared, but what's not okay, so to speak, is like let that stop you from pursuing what you care about. And it's awesome to hear that it sounds like you're doing it. You're not letting it stop you.
Yeah, I guess I got to say that I'm proud of myself in that way, because I feel like in the past I've definitely stayed in a paralyzed place, in a place of inaction and procrastination and distraction. And I feel more present with the fact that like, this is what I want to do, and it's something that I have fun doing, something that I think I'm good at. And I sometimes get feedback from other people. They're like, yeah, you're good at that. And I'm like, oh, cool. That's really encouraging to hear. And so I'll keep doing it. And so I feel like I've been able to, bear that weight a little bit, because, yeah, I mean, like life is hard and there's hard moments, but we can also do hard things.
Humans are pretty amazing. People are pretty amazing. We are very resilient. When we want to achieve great things, like we really can.
When we're motivated, yeah. So, yeah, like on my laptop background right now is a picture of Spain, and like just to remind myself, like why I'm working hard and saving the extra money and applying to scholarships, and just to stay focused on that.
That's so awesome, man. That's so cool.
Thank you very much.
So I guess I just had a couple like sort of random questions I wanted to ask you.
Fire
I noticed there's a very large presence of sheep surrounding Vervex, and I'm wondering what the sheep's head and the sheep
Yeah.
thing is.
Yeah. Very astute observation. So Vervex means sheep in Latin. Yeah. So that's where that comes from. Is the short answer. Yeah.
Okay. That's wow. That is a very short answer. I like it. I would have
Yeah.
never. It's a very interesting word for sheep. Vervex. I thought Vervex was just like a cool name that you had come up with, but
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool to hear that you thought that. I mean, yeah. The story behind that is that my little brother, he was studying Latin when he was in like grade school, I think, and we were in Village Books, and there was a random book on how to insult people in Latin, and I was just looking over his shoulder, and I saw the word vervex, which people have told me, like I don't speak Latin, but they said that, like I only say vervex, but I think I say it incorrectly because I think V's were pronounced as W's, and like werwex is what I've been told. I'm just gonna roll with the vervex thing, though. You should probably cut that last bit out of the tape so no one ever knows. But it was also used to mean like stupid. So, which is also funny. People have been like, "Cool, so you identify with that." And I'm like, I just thought it was a cool sounding word. But I also found out that, like, after the fact, that the sheep is my zodiac sign or whatever, and it was like, so did I choose the name or did it choose me?
Right. Yeah. Damn. Yeah. There's some serendipity in that.
Yeah, but it's also been fun to like find the symbology in that, the idea of like going with the flow, like a herd mentality, like a sheep. You know, there's the whole sheeple idea, and I'm not. And people have been like, so what are you trying to say? Like, you're a sheep, or you're like the shepherd of the sheep? And I'm like, you're reading into this too much right now. Yeah. I do feel though like that sort of stuff comes into my lyrics sometimes. Okay. Just like going back to what we were talking about, like individual expression and truth, and how that comes into play with a collective, like the messages from the collective and the messages that ring more true inside. So I feel like it does come into play in the lyrics sometimes.
Huh, that's really interesting. There is a balance that we all have to strike between being ourselves and respecting other people's individuality, but also recognizing that we are part of like a larger society and group. So do you feel like you comment on that in your music? Is that?
Yeah, and I don't think I have any songs that have sheep or sheep imagery in the lyrics, but I think that is something that is kind of a recurring thing, something that's really interesting to me personally. Yeah, and I really resonate with that quote. I forget who said it, but to like paraphrase, it's like, you're not doing the world any favors by playing small, basically by like acting how you think other people think you should act. It's like more of a gift to be yourself genuinely. And you know, that's something that is a really good reminder for me to hear from time to time.
Yeah, I think that, you know, that connects back to what we were talking about, you know, even songwriting. You kind of have to say your piece. You have to kind of bear all for everyone, and it's more interesting and more genuine and more meaningful.
Yeah, and more scary too.
Oh yeah,
because people can disagree with you, and
yeah. But I mean, if everyone agreed, how boring would that be?
Very boring.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I agree with what you're saying right now.
Yeah, there's a little paradox in there. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Cool. So I guess just a couple questions. Do you have any tours scheduled?
No. Was gonna go on a tour this spring, but decided to just stay in Bellingham and work towards grad school.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm like trying to do local tours. You know, play in town, play in Seattle, and I play as many shows while I'm here. And there's such a cool music scene going on while it's going on, and while I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen you a couple times the past couple months, and I've seen your name around. So
it's been really fun to like play in Bellingham again.
Yeah. It's a great place for live music here. And then, so you said you have some singles and stuff coming out. Do you have any dates set you want to kind of shout out on here? Or?
I don't have exact dates set up yet, but I've got some singles coming out probably in the next month and a half is what I would say. as well as an EP of some like instrumental stuff, and yeah, like I've got a lot in the works, so stay tuned in general.
Yeah, awesome. That's exciting. It sounds like a lot of stuff coming out.
Yeah,
So,
that's kind of my style.
Sweet.
Lots going at once.
yeah, yeah. Just keep it going, man. Keep
Yeah,
people
I'm a
interested.
juggler.
Yeah, great, awesome. Well, I think that's a pretty good place to stop. We kind of went full circle a little
Right
bit
on,
there.
yeah.
So, yeah. Thanks for being here. I'm so excited to see you play.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
And, asking me these questions.
Of course. Yeah. All right. Peace out.
Peace.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I took myself down to the bank, took all my money and I said thank you. I spent it all just to